project. Welcome to our presentation for our project. And we've been working really hard on this, and we've been working long on this. My name is Nicholas.
My name's Blake. My name's Kirsten.
My name's Haley.
And first, Haley will be starting us off with the driving question.
Our driving question is, how can we help solve the problem of the diamondback terrapin's population going down in North Carolina?
And adaptation and characteristics and adaptation. Characteristics, they are a way how you can tell animals differently from each other. And adaptations, they are features and body parts that helps an animal survive. And now Blake will be sharing about habitat and ecosystem.
Habitat and ecosystem, a community that interacts with the survival of nature. And the types of things that we've studied before we got our animal was the forest, the grassland, and the desert. The forest has lots of rain and lots of animals and insects too. Grasslands has lots of grass, especially. Good soil to plant crops. It's got good soil, and it's got lots of buffer. The desert is hot and dry and it's not a lot of animals there. Habitat means where animals live in their environment. And environment means part of a non-living and living place. For example, like the forest, it's got like the tropical rainforest, it's got rain. Rain is non-living and rocks are non-living things. And the living things are like plants and trees and animals.
I'm going to talk about the diet and life. Diet and life is let's telling about like what animals eat and what kind of eater they are, like a herbivore, carnivore, or omnivore. A herbivore is a plant eater like gorillas, and a carnivore is a meat eater like lions, and omnivores eat both meat and plants like humans. We also had to learn about food chains. Food chains are where one animal eats another animal. Like if a mouse eats corn, then a snake eats the mouse, and then the hawk eats the snake. That provides energy for each of them after they eat.
We've been working very hard on this, and when we were studying all these things, we had to draw an animal from a bucket, and we chose one. We draw for one, and we got lucky and we got the diamondback terrapin.
The diamondback terrapin has some characteristics and adaptations. Some characteristics it has a thin shell, and its head and limbs are spotted. And some adaptation that it has broad plates on its jaws to help crush prey, and it doesn't walk, it crawls, and it has webbed feet to help it swim strong and fast.
We had to learn about the diamondback terrapin's habitat and ecosystem. They live on the Atlantic coast, eastern United States, and the Gulf Coast to Texas. They live in freshwater or saltwater. They live at the shore, and they mostly live in a marsh. Other animals that live in its habitat are raccoons, crab, foxes, fish, and shrimp.
We had to learn about the diamondback terrapin's diet and life. The diamondback terrapin is a carnivore because the foods that they eat are fish, worm, crab, clams, and shrimp. They are some herbivore because when they eat, they accidentally eat the plant with the meat. For example, the fox eats the Diamondback terrapin, and the Diamondback terrapin eats the crab, and the plant, like when you eat the plant, gets stuck in it gets stuck in its mouth. The predators of the Diamondback terrapin are the foxes, bald eagles, and raccoons. The prey of the Diamondback terrapin are fish, worm, crab, clams, and shrimp. Now we're going to tell you what the problems are and the solutions that we have.
The first problem that affects the diamondback terrapin is pollution. Now pollution affects them because places like power plants are accidentally spilling stuff like oil into the water, and that's causing pollution. And a solution is we should put signs that say any company that works at like a power plant, try not to spill stuff like oil into the water.
Loss of habitat. Why most of the diamondback terrapin are dying is because our workers to build cities on top of the marshlands, because they're killing them by building over their habitat and killing most of the diamondback terrapin. And we're trying to prevent oil spills and trying to prevent people from building on their lands. That's why we're trying to put up signs and say diamondback terrapin habitat. Do not construct on this land, and it'll be blocked off so no one will be able to work on the land. The third one is drowning in crab traps. The turtles go in the crab traps and they get stuck and die. And people now are making BRDs to put on crab traps or pots to keep turtles out.
And the last one is crossing the highway. Since 2007, the calculation that they have counted is 800 female diamondback terrapins dying because of crossing the highway over the spring to lay eggs. And they're dying because the females are dying, and when the females die, then that means they're not laying enough eggs to build more. So our solution is to build a sign to say, Diamondback terrapin crossing, slow down. And that is the end.
Question.
Do you have any questions? I didn't know the sound was on.
Anybody have any questions for them?
So what's the number one way that turtles die every year? What's the number one way?
Diamondback terrapins, they die by pollution, places like power plants, they accidentally spill stuff like oil into the water. And a solution for that is we should put signs near power plants that says any company that works at a power plant should be careful with the oil and stuff and try not to dump it into the water.
Yes.
What part do they live in North Carolina?
The coastal region.
They live in the Atlantic coast, in the eastern United States, and the Gulf Coast of Texas.
They live
They live in this area.
like near around this area.
Miss Bradley?
Kirsten, when you were talking about the crab traps, what was the thing that they put on them, and can you tell me more about what those are?
BRDs. It only said that they make them. I'm not really sure what they are.
But what do they do?
They put them on crab pots so that the turtles don't go in.
So they can't get in.
It's called a BRD. Is that what it's called?
BRD.
Oh, BRD.
And only crabs can get in it.
So it keeps out the bigger things. Okay.
Any more questions?
Okay, thank you.
welcome.
Thank you for